Quick.
No.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do like a sentence one at a time so we can at least see how everybody sounds.
All right.
All right. I want to go first, so then I don't have to go later.
You
Is
just
that a
went.
sentence? I know.
Oh, that was your sentence? Oh shit.
I want to go second, so I don't have to go first.
Of course, he has to copy his fucking ass.
Right.
Dude.
I'm just gonna say,
Same.
I don't eat ass. That's my sentence.
Are you
Funny,
lying?
because I was gonna say there's nothing wrong with eating ass.
Hey, Jed, I went down. Can you get me real quick?
Oh, he went down. You said eat
Fuck me
ass.
up
He
when you
said
said I don't
down.
eat ass, bro.
He went down on that ass.
Hey, let me hear Lex. Let me hear Lex.
Yeah, Lex, spit a bar real quick. Spit a bar. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Check 1 2. I just saw the Doolittle trailer. It's weird.
Oh shit, yeah. I was gonna click on it, but then I was like, fuck it, I'm not even gonna do it.
Yeah, we're lit. We're lit. We're in there
Like
now.
the Dr.
Audio's
Dolittle trailer?
working now.
Oh, your audio on the live is working?
With
Yeah, it's working
PlayStation,
real
'cause there's
good.
a Fortnite
How I
that
sound? How I
freaking
sound,
blew
bro?
everything
How I
up.
sound, bro?
There's an event of Fortnite that happened at 2 o'clock that just killed everything.
I'm sending the new link out real quick.
He's gonna be waking up from his nap soon. I want to go to Julian Fabrics. There's a coupon for 60% off.
Bye.
We got 35 minutes, 40 minutes tops.
He hit it with the
If you bow out, Bobby, that's fine, bro. You can just bow out
Don't play it.
if we're not finished.
All right. Actually, I think the game starts early.
All right, we just who's
Okay,
gonna start?
I just got the link, so I think
okay,
we're
so
good.
Steel sound good on here now. Trav sounds good. AJ's there.
Wait. You said AJ's there or AJ sounds good? Why does everyone else get a sound good?
I said AJ's good. My bad. I meant you're there.
Wow. Everyone gets a he's good. I just get a I'm there. Nah, bro, I'm out.
No, you sound great actually.
No. I give up.
Sound the best.
So you hear
Yo. Yo.
Want to carry the bounty downstairs? I just threw him over the rail.
Whoa. What are you talking about? Did I? Did I send you? Oh damn! I did send you last week. I did send you last week.
When did he say that?
Damn, my bad. Somebody is watching the freaking video. I don't.
Yeah, we're low now. Yeah, we're low. We're low on the new one.
Are you serious?
That was last week. Wow. That's crazy.
On the new one, we're low.
Yeah, on the new one, we're low, bro. That was hype, because that was last week.
I'm listening. Hold on, man.
On the new one, we're low?
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if the woodchuck could chuck wood?
I'm listening.
Alright, now we got the new one.
Bro, I swear I was just hearing everybody sound good and everything good.
Yeah, it sounds better now, at least than the last time we did it.
Hold on, man. Something ain't right.
Judd, what are you blowing up over there?
Hold on, man. Something ain't
Now, if this broadcasting don't work, I could record a video.
That's my sentence.
Look, AJ, Bobby, what I said, Biggs. If you go to the live stream that I just, the 7. If you go to what it's live right now.
Wow, bro, you alright?
What did I say?
You just saw you fucking stuttering like a motherfucker.
Hold on, cause I'm thinking in my head. Hold on. If you go to the beginning of the live, oh my god.
I'm clicking it and it's still low. Everybody's low.
In the beginning of the live at 3:48 and go to 3:48 minute marker.
You gotta worry about currently in the live.
But something changed because if I'm listening to the beginning of the live and the live everybody sounds good, then there's a problem. Something changed between then and now.
Yes. I don't like they started laughing.
If you go to the beginning of the live.
Flash yellow. I'm going the yellow route.
Oh, you know. Hold on. I know. I think I know what's the issue. Okay, try it now. Try listening to it now.
What did you change, bro?
I was in the screen that like you can see all you see is you can't see the gameplay. So now I'm back at gameplay.
What are we trying now?
To see our voices again, I guess.
What are we trying now?
How
See,
much
now
work
it
could
works.
HHS
It was
Was
my
that
fault
really
the
the
whole
issue?
Oh, yeah, I saw
that was
the
really
lot
the
better.
issue.
That was
Wow.
really the issue.
A lot
Wow.
better.
Okay.
Wow.
That was really the issue the whole time. That was really the issue the whole time. All right, now we got it fixed.
I think we just exposed Trav, man. I
Yeah,
think
what the
I think
fuck?
he had that shit the whole time.
That would be
Like
the
we
whole.
sounded like little
fuck,
peons, and
Travis?
he sounded like a god.
All right, let's get.
He had us
this.
all in his little domain and shit.
All right, let's
What?
put phones. All right, let's put phone on vibrate. Let's get this shit going. Let's go. Stop bullshitting. Let's go.
You stopped the bullshit, bro. You had
Yeah,
us
bro.
in God mode
This
for
man said
fucking
stop.
like an hour, bro.
He had a cheat code.
God mode.
All right,
thing.
y'all let me know when y'all ready, man.
We not ready, bro. We not ready, bro. You need to calm down, count to 10.
Oh my god.
Is everybody ready?
Yeah.
God.
Wait, man, I gotta get more applesauce, man.
Hold on. So Biggs.
Yo,
So you're starting this one off. Who's starting it off?
who started it off?
I
Yeah,
think
that's a good question.
Biggs or Lex should start off since y'all know a lot about the JRPG.
Wait, what is the topic?
Wait, but
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Trav,
man,
you
you
start off,
gotta-
Trav. Just at
What?
least start
Y'all
it.
gotta
and
at
then
least
pass it to one
y'all
of us
gotta
for
at
the
least
topic.
tell me the topic before we start the podcast.
we
so I
said the
can
topic
Right,
in the
right,
group
right.
chat. What do you mean?
Yeah, we did
You
say
act like I
Yeah,
pay
we-
attention to
we
90% of the goddamn group
we
chat.
actually said what it was last week too.
What was it?
Sheesh. It's
JRPG
Western RPGs
versus
versus
RPGs.
JRPGs.
Right, and I told you all you got to do is talk about Division since that's the only RPG you've played is Division.
But isn't
Well, I
GTA
mean,
considered
also-
RPG?
No, GTA is not a RPG. I'm sorry to tell you.
Okay, hold on, because
Why isn't it?
Are you
okay,
sure?
I have a list that I was gonna bring up because the Borderlands is in it. This is just a preview. Borderlands is in it. Fallout is in it, obviously. Kingdom Hearts, obviously, but Mass Effect. So yeah. Yakuza
Destiny
is
is a
also what I want to
RPG.
talk. Yeah, Destiny is an MMORPG, but there's a debate about Yakuza being an RPG. I don't know.
I was saying
There's
it
an-
was.
I would say
A
it's just
JRPG.
fighting.
No, there's an argument for both because, well, anyways, we can get into it in the podcast. I
Okay, let's
don't know.
get into it. Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
not
I
debate
got
it
it.
before.
So Trav, go ahead and you can start it off and then pass
Wait,
it to
wait,
one of us.
but I need to
here
know
we
what
go.
is the
Wait,
difference between an
wait.
RPG and
Oh,
a fucking.
We'll get to
like-
it
You're
in the
gonna learn.
podcast.
You're gonna
We'll
learn. You're gonna learn.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
need
break
to
it down for
learn.
you.
I need
Lex
to
is
know.
going to
break it down for you.
explain. Lex is going
So
to
how am I
explain.
supposed to? How am I supposed to commentate? On
Lex
anything
is
that I
going
don't
to
know about?
explain it, and then you're gonna say what you think about it. Lex is gonna explain it during the live.
Actually,
He's
no.
gonna explain
Biggs
it
is.
twice.
Biggs is.
Biggs is gonna explain it so that we don't have to explain it twice.
All right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
you'll know what to say after I'm done saying this shit.
Just think
So
of
remember at the top, what are we playing real quick, and then the main topic, and then at the end I'll just do some game releases. In the middle, you guys could do whatever, but just as long as we try to remain consistent with that opening, because I like the way we did it last time with kind of just like coming in just casual before we get into the thing.
When I'm announcing everybody, should I just announce everybody and everybody just say hey, or should I just say
Yeah. Quick.
Yeah,
Everybody's here. Make
right.
a sound. You go to the next
And then
one.
after, and then after everybody introduces, then you ask everybody like what they getting into, what they playing lately, and everybody says like what they've been playing, and then we get into the topics.
All right. Are y'all ready?
Oh my
Take
god!
it.
I just blow myself up.
All right. Let me know when everybody's ready.
Oh, which one go?
Hey. It's PS and BS, episode 7. I'm here with the boys. We got what we playing the game. What we playing the game? Fuck.
Yeah. Go ahead, restart.
You already
Go ahead,
fucked
restart.
up. You
need
were
me to do
supposed to
this?
just
You need me to do
introduce
this?
us.
I got
You need me to do this,
it.
You need me to do this, bro?
My
I got
phone
you.
went off and I
If
started
you-
reading. My bad. I'm sorry. Let me turn that
Oh
over.
man, go.
I'm sorry. All right, let's go.
Damn.
Hey. It's PS and BS, episode 7. We here back with the boys. All of them, man. We here playing games today. A little PS and BS. Let me go around the room. We got your boy Lex in the building.
What's going on? What's going on? What's up?
We got that boy OVO Biggs.
Yo, the most lovable one in the group. You already know what it is, man.
Yeah, we got the resident Steels.
That's resident fat boy to you. I'm here.
Oh, shit.
And then we got our boy Chaos. Is it random or is it godly, man? Which one is it this week?
I don't know, man. As of right now, you just call me sir.
Wow.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
Different.
And then, of course, you guys got me, Almighty Trav. And today, man,
All right, on to the topics.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
And we got a special topic this week, man. Let's go ahead and shoot it over to Biggs, man. OVO Biggs.
Oh, damn. Y'all know I've been waiting for this week, man. Y'all know I've been waiting for this. But before we hop into the topic, the main topic,
yeah,
I'm going to go ahead real quick. You guys just give me a short little description on what everybody's been playing this past week or past month. What game have you guys been heavily grinding or focusing on? So I'm going to go ahead and start with Lex.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3, Destiny 2, and a little bit of Breakpoint. That's about it.
Got you. So you looter shooter out. What about you, Steels?
Destiny, 2K, Red Dead, MLB, the show, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. Chaos? Sir? My bad. Sir?
Thank you, sir. I've been on GTA, Red Dead. Was on Black Ops 4. Actually, I've been playing Black Ops, Call of Duty Mobile. You know, that's a new game coming out. Or that is out.
Well, it came out. Yeah, it came out. What about you, Trav?
Man, I've been on a little Persona, a little Destiny.
Oh shit,
2.
that's right. Persona for me too. Add that in there.
And then, you know, a little old school game, man. I pulled out a board game. A little sorry, man. I bust my girl's ass last night, man.
Oh,
but
my God.
Were y'all drunk? Jeez, man. This man tried. Were y'all drunk enough to play the board game?
Hey.
Sorry?
Yes,
Sheesh.
man. We good, man.
I hear it. I'm not judging. I've been, mainly, I've been on, like Chaos said, I've been on Call of Duty Mobile. I've been on that pretty heavy. And also the MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. They had a new Stormbringer, Shadowbringer expansion pack. So I'm really just trying to get through the main scenario and then hop into all the DLCs and stuff and catch up. But I've been on that pretty heavy. And speaking of MMORPGs and things of that such, the main topic for today, y'all boys, is Western RPGs versus Japanese RPGs, or for short, JRPGs. Now, does everybody know what a Western RPG is? Or what even an RPG in general is?
JRTC stands for role-playing game.
Sheesh. Somebody with some sense. Steels, bro. Break something down for me, man. What's an RPG to you? What do you think an RPG is?
Well, it stands for role-playing game. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. Play a role in the game.
Yep.
There's a lot of grinding,
every game,
you know, and I'm not talking about clips either. It's just non-stop grinding to get what you need to go further in the game. More armor, some will have relics, some will have artifacts, some will have resources. All of them have some form of like currency to where you gotta buy weapon upgrades, armor upgrades, and then for you flashy players, you know, there's skins you can add so that you can look good doing it if you really do care about that stuff. You know, but that's pretty much what an RPG is.
Do y'all boys agree? Y'all agree with that definition? He sounding like he's on the ball with that one?
Oh yeah, I'm agreeing. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes right now, and that sounds about right to me.
Now, would you consider you guys? Go ahead.
But
go
I
ahead,
do,
Chaos.
you know, I'm just saying, isn't every game? Don't you play a role in every game? Every game is technically a role-playing game.
but
I'm gonna break that. I'm gonna break
I was
that
gonna
down for you
say,
in a little bit. I'm gonna
it's
break
a
that
little
down
more
for you in a
deeper
little bit.
than that.
Yeah. It's definitely by that definition. If you just go by role playing game, that can apply to all games. You're absolutely correct. But there are certain things about the RPG genre that makes it that way and makes it different from everything else. But would you guys say that you favor Western RPGs more, or do you find yourselves playing Japanese RPGs? Like, are any of you anime fans? Do you like any of that Japanese shit, or are you just kind of like a Fallout player or a Witcher player, or a little bit more Western type of games? What do you guys think?
Well, I guess I can say the past few Western RPGs that I've played, The Witcher 3, a big example. Fallout 4 is another one. Those I like those type of games too, and I'm also into the traditional JRPGs, turn-based. You know, I from back in the day, Final Fantasy Tactics, Ultima, Secret of Mana, also. Those type of games kind of appeal to me. Those strategic type games, and I don't mind the direction they're headed. They're kind of combining real time battle as well as turn-based. So
like
I'm in the camp of both. Yeah, I'm in the camp of both. I think each brings their own set of circumstances, stories, and type. I think the gameplay is the main differentiator when it comes to these games.
Yeah.
Real quick, y'all. Real quick, Trav. Before you continue.
Yeah.
You want to make sure your mic level is back up. My fault, bro. I know you lowered it down.
Hold up. Yeah, it's back up.
All right. Just I wasn't hearing you too well.
All right.
But what about you, Trav?
I'm kind of, I don't know, man. This Persona 5. Hold on, let me stop. Hey, Lex, is that you typing?
Yeah.
I text you on your phone. Is that you on your keyboard? Who's on the keyboard? Hello? I can't hear anybody.
Oh damn! Yeah, you can hear that.
Yeah, I text you like 10 minutes ago. I said, Lex, I can hear you pounding the keyboard.
Damn.
It's like
loud.
It's kind of loud.
Like, I feel bad for your keys, son.
For real. All right, so I'm gonna jump back in.
It's a gaming keyboard. So
Don't go into Persona 5 just yet. We're gonna talk about your both of y'all experiences.
Okay,
with
so
that.
all right, so yeah, I would say I'm a Western RPG just because I grew up on Xbox and Xbox didn't have access to JRPGs, so the only games I had was Western RPGs.
Okay. And Chaos, you said you weren't too familiar with RPGs. Do you have any idea of ones you've played or not?
Well, the way you guys are speaking about it, I guess I used to play like there was a Japanese game that I used to play back in the day. I don't remember what it was called, but it was like used to be like an assassin ninja type role. And as you progress through, they made a game similar to it recently. I can't remember the name of it though, to be completely honest. But I was never big on RPG games.
Your pops was.
Yeah, my dad used to play Final Fantasy. He still plays Final Fantasy, bro. My dad's like a big kid, bro, when it comes to video games. But like, I never got into RPGs, I guess, because of the fact that you do have to grind your way through, like so much crap.
Right.
Me, I prefer games like I was a Tekken fan, I was a Need for Speed fan, I was a GTA fan, like games that you could enjoy, but you didn't have to actually grind, so to say.
Right.
So, but I guess I would be more, you could say I'd be more of a, now, would probably be more of a Western RPG fan. Only because I don't play any.
You'll find yourself playing a Western sooner than you would a Japanese RPG. Let's just put it that way, right?
Probably.
All right.
I believe it.
What about you, Steel?
I would have to say I've played a lot more Western RPGs. I know there's different styles of RPGs. There are some RPGs that are very, like, just grind worthy. Some of those seem to lose interest, but yeah, growing up I never really played any RPGs. It was all sports, fighting, racing, wrestling, stuff like that. But recently I have like broadened my horizons on games. I have recently started a JRPG that I'm enjoying. We'll get into that when we get on that topic. Yeah, we're gonna touch on that. So I'll touch on that a little bit. But I actually looked up what JRPG games there was because I honestly didn't know like what categorized as JRPG, and surprisingly there was 2 or 3 that I have already played.
And you didn't even know it.
And I didn't even know it, but I do enjoy, though I do play more of the Western ones, even though it's not like 100% my go-to type of game, but I am definitely broadening my horizons a little bit more and getting into it, so I'll definitely be playing a little bit more RPGs of all sorts.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the honor of like giving you a little breakdown of the whole debate. It's been like a big debate between Western RPG and JRPG, and should they even be considered 2 different genres, or are they just part of one big genre that people just like to keep separate? And I did a lot of research, took a lot of notes. I do want to say that I got most of my research from the YouTube channel Extra Credit, so shout out to them if they ever want to come for my ass for taking their shit. But I'm gonna try and water it down. So Western RPG versus JRPG. First, before we get into them as separate entities, we got to talk about what birthed both of the genres, and that is tabletop RPGs, specifically Dungeons and Dragons. It was like the first RPG experience that that people had and people could play. And I think Steels, you were telling me that you got into Dungeons and Dragons once upon a time.
About a year and a half ago, yes.
Okay, pretty recent. Got you. How is that actually? I never tried playing it. How did you enjoy it?
It's actually really good. It's essentially playing an RPG on a console or a PC. Just you're sitting at a table and you can visually see the other people in your group. You create your character, and everything is done with your imagination. You have dice, and depending on your success or your failure, depends on what the dice rolls. But for a little foreshadowing what we're about to get into, it is essentially a turn-based style game because one at a time people go.
Right.
You roll what's called your initiative before battle starts, and even the enemies you're fighting is a part of that. So it goes from highest number to least, and if you rolled lower than an enemy, they'll act before you. If you rolled higher, you act before them. One round is everyone gets a chance to attack or defend or whatever, and then you just keep going until someone dies.
Yeah.
That right there, without getting too much into it, is what caused me to branch out into the game I'm currently playing right now.
Gotcha.
I'll just leave it at that for right now.
And I'll just to add on there, with the inclusion of something called a Dungeon Master while playing Dungeons and Dragons, it really made for these tabletop RPGs to be the more immersive, maybe the most immersive RPG experience anybody could get. And this was before it was even on video games. So I just wanted to say that is like the father, you can say, of all RPG. But then we got so they both were popularized independently in 2 different countries. One was Japanese, the other one was the Americas. So the way I see it, JRPGs are more narrative. They tell a story.
Oh, that's number one
they
on
focus
my
on
notes.
they focus more on the narrative delivery of their games and of their story, while Western focuses on fantasy and expression of self.
Yep.
And I'm gonna get into that. But I just want to say, I want to add in something that people don't realize, but we usually define these genres on like aspects of the game or surface elements. Like, okay, you think Call of Duty, we say Call of Duty is a first-person shooter, because it has the camera angle like that, and you can see the gun and you don't see the rest of your body, so it's considered a first-person shooter.
Right.
So you're playing as a soldier, and you're in war, or you're trying to capture objectives or whatnot, so why can't that be a role-playing game? A role-playing first-person shooter? It's because we're really we're putting these into genres based on the mechanics of it, not really the reason why we play. So when we pick up games and we want to play them, we got to ask ourselves, and even with our favorite games, we got to ask ourselves, why do we play these games? What do we hope to get out of it? You know, what do we desire to get out of the game? That defines the genre of it. Of course, we got core play aesthetics of the game, like narrative. We want a challenging game, maybe. We want a game with discovery aspects where we can go out and explore open worlds. So games like Skyrim and Minecraft, that's the reason why you play. That's the core play aesthetic, is discovery. Is to go discover the worlds, even build. But some games, it can be an element, but it's not the main reason you play. Like for games like Resistance or God of War, partially it's discovery, but that's not the main reason why somebody pops in God of War, is to go discover. It's really to just kick ass.
Yep, hack and slash.
So when you're really defining the genre for yourself of a game, you got to ask yourself, is blank an element of the game? And then you got to ask, is blank the reason why you play that game?
That's a good one.
So then going into JRPG and Western, when it comes to JRPGs, you're like playing as a pre-built character with their own appearance, their own personality, and you're playing their story. So you're kind of the puppet master. When it comes to Western RPGs, it allows you to be the protag. It allows you to create the character. You're placed in the story. You're the hero. This is your journey. You play it out the way you want to.
Right.
It really allows you to expand on the expression of self. So you got like dialogue choices, morality decisions. You can choose your character race, what weapon he wields, and stuff like that.
Right.
That is what made Western so distinct from JRPGs, is that it really allowed you to express yourself rather than just playing as a pre-built character. So all that wrapped up, JRPGs tell you a story. Western RPGs places you in the story. So we play them for different reasons, which is why I think it makes them two different genres.
So would you say Dungeons and Dragons is both then? Because the way you just ended describing both of those is exactly what it is. You create your own character, but then you are immersed into a world that you have to 100% explore from scratch, and every decision moving forward, you know, everything that happens in the story depicts on what you do, all your actions.
Simply put, it is both, and that's why they branched out into two different things. It's coming from that one. It's coming from that one big genre. Let's say Dungeons and Dragons is its own genre that birthed Western RPG and JRPG. Because remember, the only difference between the two is that they're in different countries, and really, that's the only genre that has been distinct by the countries in which they were developed in. Like, you don't see anybody saying Japanese first-person shooter. You know? So, like, the tabletop RPGs are the father of it. So you can say that it's both. It's a mixture of the two. But then the two sides of the world decided to expand on them in a certain aspect of it. Japanese, they wanted to expand on the narrative and tell their stories, and then Western wanted to give the players the feeling of, oh, you're in the game and you get to write the story the way you want. So that was that doesn't mean that games that are developed in the country have to be that genre. Like, for example, Dark Souls, developed in Japan. It's not a JRPG. It's a Western RPG. It appeals more to the Western RPG audience.
Gotcha.
So, and with that being said, both JRPGs and Westerns, they have one element in common. It's called abnegation. Anybody know what abnegation means?
That's a big word.
No, sir.
No one on that. Okay, abnegation.
I'm not even gonna
abnegation.
Come
You
on.
all know what it is. You all know what it is, because when I say it, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah." As gamers, we. If you don't feel this way as a gamer, I don't even know why you're playing video games. Abnegation. Abnegation is the desire to use media as a way to mentally check out of life, check out of everything, get away from life, escape.
Oh yeah, I do that every day.
Oh yeah.
All right. So the gaming to you guys is a way of abnegation.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense then.
Right. And this is something that both Western and
Click on
JRPGs have in common, because they both give you a way to just check out and explore a world, whether the world you control or whether the world you're living in. In Western and JRPGs, now the games have things like progress bars, resource collector, easy checklists. For example, with you guys in particular, Destiny. You ever feel like you're in the middle of something and you don't feel like putting too much mental thought into like beating a boss strategically, so you just hop on Destiny and go collect a few resources or something, just like little progress.
Right.
You know, because it doesn't require
if you
much
just
thought.
want to waste some time, you can go. I mean, I did that same thing in like Assassin's Creed. There's times that I didn't even want to play the story or any side missions. I just went around finding new routes to jump from building to building and how high I can climb a building, and then jump down into the hay bale, and then I go crazy and start stabbing everyone. You know?
I think that's the thing about these RPGs and these, especially the open world ones, where the side quests really kind of take over my approach when it comes to some of these games. I rarely, there's a lot of games that I've played that I've logged in maybe 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, and they're all side quests. They're not even the main story, because I'm from the school of, level up your character, and get in there, and as soon as you start fighting, going towards the boss fights and things like that, you're strong. You're already strong. You did all the work. You did all the grinding. So in other words, it takes me a long time to finish games because I'm into these side quests.
Right. And that's all part of the abnegation of it. Is you're getting immersed in easy things to do just to pass your time, and it's also benefiting your character. It's not like you're doing it for no reason. That's why a lot of people, when it comes to, do I want to play this game where I have to do these trials and fight this really hard boss, or do I just want to hop on Destiny, do a strike, collect my engrams, and just let it be that? That's where the abnegation aspect comes into play with these RPGs, and that's really what they got like known for in the West and in Japan. So that's that. I want to talk for a second about JRPGs in particular, and this is going to kind of bring us into a little discussion with Steels and Trav. You guys would know this, but I'm going to ask anyway. What is one of the worst parts about JRPGs?
Oh, I know the answer. Go
ahead. I need both of you. Give me the answer.
I'm gonna say the soap opera dialogue. That's. Okay. I feel like
that's not it for me.
I know that's not it for Steels.
I was gonna say I feel like I was in a cutscene for, I want to say 2 or 3 hours before I even got to get blood on my hands per se. So that. But I'm gonna just leave it right there. That's my answer. Right. Go ahead, Steels.
Steels, what's the worst part of JRPGs for you, Steels?
The turn-based system.
Oh, I'm used to Pokemon, so I'm good, man. That ain't a problem to me.
Pokemon Stadium was the only turn-based game I like playing. I played with my brother, and it's a fighting game.
This is a fighting game too.
Remember back to earlier? No, no. It's not a fighting game. I mean, right. Stadium was a fighting game.
Oh yeah.
Pikachu versus
Stadium.
Charizard.
Yes, Stadium. I'm sorry. I'm talking about the other ones. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just not. I was never a fan of the turn-based style, and
right.
I played one of the Final Fantasies. I don't remember which one because everyone was talking about it at work, and I'm like, or not at work. Sorry, at school when I was back at school. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, I gotta give this game a try. I like playing games, and then the whole I gotta wait, and then he hit me. Okay, cool. Do I want to heal? No, let me just press X. I want to swing my sword. Oh, great, he hit him. He lost some health. It just was boring. Like I'm more of like I said, I like playing fighting games, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, blah blah blah. I want to run up there and put in the 6-hit combo and physically hit the guy.
Right.
I mean, not physically, but you know what I mean.
Hell yeah.
That's what I want to do. But so I just totally outlaw anything that said turn-based. Nah, it didn't matter how good the story was. I just automatically said nah. I'm good.
And it's funny that you said that because that is exactly how JRPG started losing fans and gaining, and Western RPG started gaining those fans was the menu-based combat. Well, now it's called turn-based combat, but back when it was developed in the early 80s, it was called menu-based combat. And it wasn't even like that. It wasn't that impressive even back then. It was pretty boring. But the thing about the JRPGs was the narrative made up for it. So it didn't. The combat didn't have to be as engaging back then. It just had to be good enough so that they get their narrative point across, and you're just so blown away by the story that you're not even worrying about the fact that you just put 80 hours into menu-based combat. But then what the Western did was they started experimenting with more engaging combat, ATB battling, which is active time battling. So it's kind of a step up from turn-based. You're just waiting on a time bar. Then they started going full action, hack and slash, all that stuff. And that's what got more fans going to Western RPGs. So they got more technologically, they improved off of JRPGs, but their narrative still wasn't as strong. So you had people like the diehard JRPGs going back for the story. They had the Westerns going for the combat. But then when things like voice acting and stuff started coming into play, when technology advanced, then Western started to dominate like the early 2000s for RPGs. So even with that, JRPGs, they still kind of stuck to their guns. They're just now starting to kind of sway away from turn-based and go more action. But I bring this up because I had both of you gentlemen try a modern JRPG that has turn-based combat, which is not rare to find now, but it was interesting that Atlas chose to take that approach with a 2018 game. But I had you guys play a little bit of it. You guys didn't play as much as I'd hoped, but you played enough, so that's cool. So I want to get your thoughts, you, Trav, and Steels, on Persona 5. What are your opening thoughts?
Who going first, man?
You can go first because I got a little bit of a discussion.
All right, man. So where do I start, man? I started the game off. The opening cinematics, it kind of grabbed me because it was like anime. It was action packed. I'm like, oh, this look like it might be lit. This is gonna be lit. Then I start getting into the story and the gameplay, and I'm like, hold on, is this a game or a simulator? Because I'm like, my guy got to go to sleep, then he got to wake up, then he got to walk to the town, he got to walk and see this person, he got to talk to this guy, he got to talk to... I'm like, okay, so when am I going to see some enemies like I saw in the first 2 minutes of the game? So just first off, it was just very, like he said, narrative driven. The game is very narrative driven. Now, the story alone was real good. I like how they had like a real world issue, but kind of fantasized it. Not to be too spoilery or whatever, but they had like, spoiler alert, I guess, they had like a teacher that was abusing his students, and they made it seem like he was like a king, and they were just his royal subjects. So it just, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool how they put a little spin on it, but it was like real world. So I'm wondering if like all JRPGs kind of take that real life drama and kind of fantasize it more than just starting out of fantasy.
Well, they do. That's one of the many things I like about the JRPGs. They have these real world issues, and they deal with family, they deal with love, they deal with loyalty, loss, redemption. They deal with all these different subjects that people go through every day. And again, they're anime, so they are exaggerated. It is, a lot of it is fantasy, but I think, and there's a lot of people that play these games, and some of these subjects, hit home.
Yeah.
Some of these subjects people have gone through, and some people can't play these games because I've seen comments on certain sections of this game, Persona 5 in particular, where they have to put the game down because it just hits too close to home.
Right. And
I can understand that. It's because some of the stuff is deep, and I know you haven't gotten that far yet. But I'm telling you, there's some deep stuff in this game that's really gonna kind of makes you think, and I think that's what they want.
Right. That I could definitely. That's where I see the difference. Like what Biggs was saying earlier, that JRPG puts you pretty much on the shoulder of somebody instead of just making you be that person. Because now I'm going through his life and I'm seeing how he would move and operate, and so when I'm making my decisions, I'm feeling like, okay, what would he do instead of what would I do? You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right. Well, to touch a little bit on what you said, Trav, with the whole, is it a game or is it a simulation? With the whole sleeping aspect and stuff like that.
riding a train.
How different is that than playing Red Dead, which I know you love to play, than having to feed your horse or fucking brush it or feed yourself? You know, so I mean,
I understand that
part
but
of it. That part of it, I didn't have a problem with. But I understand where you're coming from. I understand where you're coming from. I also understand where you're coming from when you said the whole like story and like you just want to see enemies and stuff like that, because there is a lot of X-mashing, you know, conversating and the people talking, and you gotta talk to people and stuff like that. But as we said a little earlier, yes, I started playing D&D, and it's very similar in the style of game. And we were talking last week after our podcast, because the way it ended, you know, I might have hurt Big's feelings when I said I can't stand turn-based, you know, games, and he's like, I'm kind of crying inside a little bit because that's my life, you know, that's what I do, you know. So I kind of felt bad a little bit, and I was like, all right, you know, I didn't want to shit on him like that, you know, because, you know, that's his thing. Also, recently, I say recently, but within the last 2 years, I started watching anime. Another thing that I kind of put off, because when I started watching it when I was younger, I'm kind of like, not my thing, just left it alone.
Wow.
But, you know, I had another group, one of the other groups that I play with sometimes, they listen to a lot of anime, and all they did was talk about it. Oh, this happened, and oh, that happened, and oh, this happened. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of felt left out. And I'm like, man, you know, they're always talking about Dragon Ball and this other, what's it, My Hero Academia and Full Metal Alchemist and all this other just random shit. And I was like, man, I feel kind of left out. So, you know, I started talking, and they're like, hey, I'm not going to tell you to watch it. I'm not going to force anybody to watch something they don't like. But if you want to get into it, check out this one, or this one. Like, all right. So I started out with one.
That's exactly what I did to you.
Happened to be One Punch Man. I'm not going to get too much into it. Boom. Now I got about 8 to 10 animes in my pocket that I'm caught up on, and about 3 or 4 that I'm in the mix of watching.
Wow.
So listening to Biggs talk last week, a little bit on and then mostly off of the podcast, the way he was describing it, I was like, you know what, let me go check the trailer. And then I watched the trailer in the PlayStation Store. I'm like, yo, this looks like a freaking anime. And I'm into that shit now. So I was still skeptical about the whole turn-based thing because I wasn't a huge fan. But I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. So I gave it a shot, and I'm enjoying it. I like it. I like the whole aspect of it because it has that anime feel. And it's funny because one of the animes I'm watching right now, thanks to Biggs and his podcast, I want to shout that out later, but he has an anime. He has an anime podcast, and one of his episodes he was talking about his top 5 or underrated 5 or something. Well, one of those 5 list things, and he mentioned Tokyo Ghoul, and I've had a couple of people say that was a good show. So I started watching that show. When I started playing Persona 5, I'm like, It's a lot of similarities between Tokyo Ghoul and Persona 5. You know, just the way the game is, especially with your specials. You know, you have your persona, which, you know, when you're playing kind of activates behind you and you can control it and stuff like that. And in Tokyo Ghoul, they have their special. The ghouls have their little, they have their Kagane that comes out in battle behind them, and there's just a lot of similarities. So I liked it. It was cool.
That was another thing. But go ahead. Okay, I guess that's where I come from.
It also kind of had a feel for what's it, Kingdom Hearts feel, the way like the characters move, and that was the one JRPG that I played that I didn't know was a JRPG, and I enjoyed that. Mainly because of the characters. I can relate to the Disney characters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I want to ask you something, Steels. My bad, Trav. I'll let you go right now. I just want to ask him a question. I don't expect it to totally win you over. However, I do want to ask: is the turn-based battling in Persona 5 boring, or is it kind of the same battling system that you dreaded before, or like how did they make it feel not so boring if it is to you? Just let me know.
It's not boring. Reason being is because the action that they put behind it, they added to it. Back in the day, it was like attack with sword, and they just run up and go, and then run back, and that's it. And then it's your turn again. It's like attack with guns, pew pew, and then your turn is done. Or I want to heal myself, and then it's just this aura comes above you. It's like, all right, my turn's done. Where in Persona, it's like attack with swords, and he runs up and he does like a 4-piece combo where he does some crazy like parkour acrobatic freaking karate shit. And it makes it a little bit more enjoying. And then when you use your persona, you have different personas that you can level up and unlock and stuff like that. And
it feels fresh.
Well, not personas, but like abilities for them. And it's actually pretty good. And then I'm at a point where I got a couple of helpers with me, and you could actually tell the team to heal and support or all-out attack. You have group attacks where all of you guys can attack at one time. So it actually makes it more enjoyable. So I'm definitely going to finish it. I'm going to play it a lot more. I just have too many games going on right now that I have.
I'm super jealous. I'm super jealous of you guys. I wish I can erase my memory of Persona right now and start over, but I'm gonna have to wait till Royale comes out. But anyways, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I mean, that's a fantastic game. It sold well. 2.7 million. 2.7 million. That's the biggest in the whole franchise. That's the most. And clearly there's a demand for these type of games, and if done right, if done with the right care and the right polish, and it will intrigue some new players like you guys. You guys are not alone. There's a lot of people that definitely weren't into this type of genre, but they jumped aboard with Persona.
Yeah, I think
and
the
story
what I noticed too? Needs to get more
what I noticed too?
Pushed to the front.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think like if I would have known what the story was gonna be about, like it was gonna be this like dark, I guess you could say, I would have been jumped on a Persona, because like I'm like, oh shit, this is like Lex was saying earlier, like it deals with a lot of real life situations, but they put their own little spin or twist to it, where it's not like let's say GTA, where I'm just a bank robber, I'm just robbing banks every 3 weeks. It's just like, oh shit, I like a good game that has a good story, so. This one does it more for me than Division does.
It's crazy because Persona 3 is the darkest one, and when I say it's dark, the whole game is about pretty much coming face to face with the fact that death is real and accepting it. And like in Persona 5, if you've noticed, they all got like a mask and they'll peel it off, and that's what summons their persona.
Yeah, Persona they peel 3, it off and they start bleeding.
In Persona 3, literally puts a gun to their head, shoots themselves, and their persona comes out that way. That's how dark that game is.
Yeah, they're committing suicide every time. Every time. Yeah, they're committing suicide every single time.
It's a really dark game. It's a really dark game. Just, I wanted to mention that because Trav brought up how dark 5 was. And also I want to mention that this palace that you guys are on right now with Kamoshida, it is like the first out of about 7. I wanted to let you guys know that. And it only gets darker. The problems only get bigger. There's about 7 more of these that you're going through with Kamoshida, like his whole palace thing. There's about 7 to 8 more. And they only get darker. They only get more immersive. They only hit closer to home with each one that passes by. And it is really crazy.
Right.
Wow. It is crazy. What I was going to say was there is a really distinct, if you are JRPG fan / anime fan, you can definitely tell that they are two in the same, because a lot of animes are dark, comical, but also perverted.
Oh yeah.
And this game definitely has that, because like Trav was saying with the guy that, you know, he kind of has this little dream world where he's the king of the castle, and in the real life he's you know, trying to stunt on this one student, you know, that he has feelings for or whatever that he likes. But in his dream world, she's like his sex slave, basically. She's walking around like leopard lingerie and and shit like that. And I was just like, wow, yeah, you can tell this is something from Japan.
Yeah, it's his sick mind. Yeah, it's his sick mind, literally.
Hey, so we taking a trip to Japan though?
I want to. No,
I've been trying to for like 2 years.
High key, I want to. Like, seriously, I want to go
hit
to
the
Japan.
PayPal in the description.
Yeah. We're gonna start a GoFundMe, a PS and BS GoFundMe. We
won't come back. We won't come back. That's a tough one to come back from.
Oh shit!
No, I want to do that dang Mario Kart shit, man. I want to dress up as Pikachu.
Oh shit!
Drive around in a go-kart around Tokyo. Come on now.
Sheesh.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But you said something earlier, Lex. Persona Royale. I've been seeing that on.
It's the definitive edition.
So why is there a
that's
definitive?
It's basically it's gonna have new dungeons, because you got to remember, well, if you guys didn't know, well, Persona 5 was originally released in Japan at least a year or two before it actually released on PS4, and it's a PS3 game. It's a PS3 game. That's what it was built on.
Wow.
So Royale is kind of like a remaster with new dungeons, new levels, new characters even. So that's why I'm waiting for that one, because that one's gonna, if I had to start over, I would definitely want some new content as well, because I put at least 90 hours into that. I almost beat it, but then, you know, other games come out, you know, I got to catch up on the backlog. But
so
that's kind of where I'm at.
It's not an add-on to the Persona 5. It's like a new thing. You got to buy the whole thing over again.
Yeah, you got to buy the whole thing. It's a full game, enhanced, and it has new dungeons, new characters, new music.
Graphically?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And the pacing of it changes because they added that new content. That's why they can't just simply be like, hey, there's a DLC downloaded and play after the story. It's because it's all a part of the story. It's pretty much a new pacing to the game because they added that new stuff.
Now I low-key want to stop playing and just get that one and play it all from the first time and get everything.
Well, that doesn't release over here. It hasn't even been announced. The release date hasn't even been announced. In Japan, it releases, I believe, at the end of this month. But
so Persona 6 ain't coming out until I'm about 35 then. Okay.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not.
Well, if they know what's good for them, if Atlas knows, which is the company that makes these games, if Atlas, if you go through their catalog, they know if they have a successful franchise, they're not afraid to put out a sequel or two.
Okay. So other than I got a question. Other than Persona and Final Fantasy, is there any other big hitting JRPGs on current PS4 that me and Bobby should also look out for?
I would say a big one that comes to my head is Tales of Vesperia, Tales of Zestiria, Tales of Berseria. There's a new one that got announced at E3 called Tales of Arise. Those are all action JRPGs, so they're not really turn-based. They're more action combat.
Gotcha.
That one, Dragon Quest. They just came out with the definitive edition on Switch, but they have the regular edition on PS4. You have Ni no Kuni 1 and 2 on PS4. Those are just to name a few that I know on this console. A few JRPGs. Lex, I don't know if you know any other ones.
Yeah, there's a few, like on top of the ones that you mentioned. There's definitely a market for this now, especially on PlayStation. So, I mean, the ones he mentioned definitely. Obviously, you guys know about Final Fantasy, how much that's changed. Yeah. With the last one they released, I think it was 15, right? Mm-hmm. 15, the way it's changed, it's definitely, Final Fantasy's been like very experimental in the way they've embraced a Western approach lately. So that might appeal to you guys in the sense they're not as traditional as they used to be, and it sort of has the fans divided. There's some traditionalists and purists that are like, hey, I've grown up on Final Fantasy, and I'm used to the turn-based stuff, and now with the last one, it was very Western. It was it was
I almost bought it.
surprisingly Western.
I almost bought it when I saw the footage
Well,
of
you
that
can't.
game. I almost
It's a
bought
good
it.
game. It's a good game. It's a solid game, and if you definitely are turned off by the turn-based stuff and kind of want a more traditional hack and slash with a little bit more of a strategy to it, because it definitely has some strategy to it, then yeah, the 15 is good.
You know, I'm not turned off of the turn-based stuff or nothing like that, because like I said, I played a lot of Pokemon Pokemon Stadium and things of that nature, and other PC games that had that similar style that I can't really name off the top of my head. But with the Final Fantasy series, it's just like you said, they're at Final Fantasy 15, and I never played not one. So I feel like, okay, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy 15. They're probably gonna mention something from another Final Fantasy. I'm gonna have no clue what the hell
They're
is
all
going
separate
on.
entities. None of them
Yeah,
are
they're-
linked at all.
Yeah, none of them are linked, except, obviously the obvious ones, 13, 13-2.
Yeah, some of them have series within itself. Like Final Fantasy X has Final Fantasy X-2. Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 13 has 13-2, 13 Lightning Returns.
Right.
And they're like sequels and stuff within themselves, but no two Final Fantasy games have the same story. 1 and 2 are completely different, just like 7 and 15 are. They'll never mention each other or nothing like that. The only thing they'll keep in common are things like chocobos and moogles. You'll probably see the same creatures throughout them, but no story similarity.
Right. I can't.
Yeah, the stories definitely change.
What about
Yeah,
the characters, like the main playable characters?
Yeah,
No, they're all different.
Whole different story, whole different story,
Okay.
whole different setting, all that.
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
different. And I think
So it's like
when it comes to talking about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say something a side note for random chaos because he's quiet. But go ahead.
No, just to kind of let you guys know about the impact of JRPGs versus RPGs. If you look at the top 10 in sales, it's basically an even battle. You got the top 5, Pokemon with 305 million, Final Fantasy 144 million copies sold, Dragon Quest, Monster Hunter. Those are JRPGs.
Right.
Then you got Elder Scrolls at 52 million.
Oh, I'm an Elder Scrolls guy.
Lineage. Yeah, Lineage, which is a JRPG as well, 43 million. You got Fallout, 38 million.
Fallout 4.
Diablo, 36.5, and The Witcher
Diablo?
at 33. Yeah, Diablo's huge. Diablo's been
Yeah.
around for a long time.
Yes, I had that on
played
PC.
Diablo 3.
That's what I was saying.
Played Diablo 3.
Diablo and Warcraft was one of my 2 favorite games on PC as a kid. Warcraft.
Right, these are franchises, and then World of Warcraft rounding out number 10 at 3.3 million, and it's an even split with the top 10
Wow.
between JRPGs and RPGs. So there's definitely this is a great market. I mean, it's one of my favorite markets personally, because you can either create your own story or be part of a story that's just spectacular.
Yeah. So, what I wanted to say earlier is that I can't wait for Cyberpunk, because that's gonna be like I think a RPG that everybody's probably gonna jump on board for, other than it being first person,
Yeah, let's see if it gives out those RPG elements rather than it just being called a first-person shooter.
Is there? I was gonna say, is there another? Well, they already. I mean, soon as people saw it, everybody was saying, "Oh, first-person shooter," and they were like, "No, this is not a first-person shooter." It's similar to. I can see their mechanics is similar to Fallout, where yes, it's first-person, and yes, you have. But I've played Fallout, and I rarely use the actual, I guess, the shooting mechanic like a first-person
Right.
shooter. I actually hit the designated areas where I want my gun to shoot and all that.
So you can say, just giving myself a little credit here, you can say that first-person shooting is not a core play aesthetic for you when it comes
Nah.
to Fallout.
No, never.
So that's not the reason why you play.
Nah, never. Never was.
So Biggs know what he's talking about. Okay, all right,
Nah,
go ahead.
nah. And the same thing for when Cyberpunk. I'm not gonna be playing it to be a first person shooter. I'm playing it to enjoy the world, go on adventures similar to how I was in Elder Scrolls. Those games. That's what I look forward to. Is there any Western RPGs that have adapted the JRPG in a sense of this is your character, this is his story, not you are the person, this is your story? Did that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, there is. I guess when you put it that way, there is a sense of there's a main story, right? There's your that drives your character and what he's supposed to
Correct.
do, and then
Yeah.
there's like side quests, which most of these two subgenres have in common. So atop of my head, I mean, if you look at The Witcher 3, for example, I think the biggest success, one of the successful reasons why The Witcher is such a great game that both sides kind of embrace is there's plenty of dialogue. There's a heavy story in The Witcher. I mean, remember, we're talking about The Witcher. This came from books. So they're fitting, it's a trilogy, and they fit all that stuff into this game. So when you talk about a heavy dialogue with choices and things like that, but there is a definitive story to Geralt's journey. It's not like, hey, do your own thing and this happens. When I beat The Witcher 3, there's probably maybe 3 or 4 endings, I believe, to that. I didn't get a very good ending. It's not the ending that I wanted, but you only have those 3 endings. You get what I'm saying? So, and they're all centered around the same one ending. It's just different characters either die off or they don't.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So, it's kind of tough to think of at the top of my head what games have really done this.
Yeah, you kind of just got to look at certain games that you play a character instead of creating him yourself. Like, I have an idea of one, but I never played it, so I don't know exactly how the elements work in it. But Assassin's Creed Odyssey, do you create that character or do you play as him?
Oh, I never played that one.
I think you just play as him.
Yeah, I think.
Because if
you
so,
play.
that would be a
all of
good
yeah.
example. That'd be a good example of a Western RPG taking the narrative side
Yeah.
rather than the player creation side.
Got you.
That's one of my favorite games ever, and yeah, it's the brother and sister. You can either be the male or the female, whichever one you pick. Basically the other person is the other side of the story, so it's the same thing. So yeah, that's a good example.
Okay.
And that was my TED talk. No, I'm just kidding.
I guess I got to put some respect on JRPG, man. That's what I end up getting out of all of this. I got to put some more respect on it. Like I said, I just got back on PlayStation since the PlayStation 4. So, now that I'm here, I guess I can, start dipping my feet into these JRPGs more,
Let's see, man. I just need you to get through a little bit more Persona 5 first, man. Don't dive in the pool just yet.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna jump on to Final Fantasy 15 yet.
You're like not even in the neighborhood yet.
I
would say you at the front door, but you're not even in the neighborhood.
What I
want
to do is I want to finish Persona 5, so I'm right in time just for that Final Fantasy remake that's coming out next year.
You're not getting that, bro. I'm not even going to talk to you about this. You're not getting that, bro. I'm not going to let you
Final
get
Fantasy 7?
Yeah, I'm not going to let Trav get that.
I'm getting
I'm not
it,
gonna let him
man.
buy
I'm
that.
getting it.
When is it coming out?
Spring,
March
man.
3rd.
2020,
March
man.
3rd, 2020.
Yep. It's a lot of big hitters
I will be taking a trip out of town, man. I miss y'all boys at work. I'm going away for that, man. I'm going to lock myself up somewhere.
This man said he's gonna go get him a room, 55 West, with the lights
I'm gonna go
off.
lock myself up somewhere for that.
I think that's crazy, man. When we were playing Call of Duty Hard, one of the dudes in my group, every year when it came out, he took a 10-day vacation from work. All he did.
Sheesh.
Play Call of Duty.
That's different. For Call of Duty, I don't know, because that ain't a story-based game. I can't do that.
Hey, we're
I'll
random
rage quit
man.
and not play it for 2 days.
Yo, I'll tell you how to summon him. You ready?
How you summon
Third
random?
person sucks. First person is better.
Fuck my bitch.
Told you.
Hey, random.
Sir.
Since people
Sir,
talk about
yeah,
these crazy stories about what they were gonna do with this, what would you do if what did you do with GTA 5 when you first started playing? I feel like you went on an island and played that game for like 100 hours because you surpassed me and I had the game for 4 years before you.
Bruh, when I like a game, I get submerged into it like it's a lifestyle.
Sheesh.
This man can really
I
get
swear
wrapped
he wore
up.
a cowboy hat to work when Red Dead came out. He wore a cowboy hat to work.
I mean, I can't agree with that statement or deny that statement because we don't work together, so I don't know who you've seen. He might have looked like me.
Nah,
it
that
might
was
have
you,
actually
man.
been me.
That was you.
But, I mean,
You know
we don't
when
work
Red Dead
together,
came
so
out.
I don't know
Hey,
who
Big-
you've seen.
Hey, Biggs got somebody because I went to the mall yesterday, and I went to the biggest mall. I went to the Florida Mall, and there's 100 stores in there, and Biggs just said off top, "Yeah, man. So what you get from H&M?" I'm like, God damn, I don't even buy shit from. I don't even buy shit from H&M all the time.
I got guys out there, man. I got guys.
Oh my god, man! But if you're looking for a sweater, it's cheap.
Sir.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, you know what's going on, sir. Yo, we've been talking a lot of informative stats and all that good stuff, but let's go ahead and take our mind off a little bit. You got anything for us this week, man? As far as the
BS,
your section of the podcast goes, yo segment. Come on, man. It's time for random BS with chaos.
I don't know, man. I don't really have anything today, bro. I work, man.
You
how's that?
ass.
I was gonna say, how's that Final Fantasy? Oh, I mean, fantasy football league that you're in. How's that going?
Listen, that fantasy football shit, though, that shit trash. All right, I was supposed to win some money.
Hey, hold on. What are you talking about? Fantasy football or just the weekly pick'ems? Because that's completely different. That's two totally different.
It's
talking about a little paper you got. We had to pick teams. That's weekly pick'ems. That ain't no fantasy football league.
Well, whatever. That shit, bro. Teams I picked were trash, and I didn't win no money.
I thought you had the cheat code.
Bro, I thought I did, bro.
So you went and hit the bookies. You hit the bookies and was losing.
He made some calls, man. He was already talking about what
calls.
The wife.
Yeah, bro. I was already already had it planned out. The wife already gave me permission to buy a new gun if I won, bro. Like, it's not you can pay off the gun that you currently have on layaway. Nah, you can go buy a new gun you want it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, babe. I'm giving you half. I take the rest.
He about to get himself in trouble,
actually,
man.
I told her I'd give her 1,000 and I'd take 800. But that's.
Oh, you was gonna win big money like that? I'm thinking 50s and 40s, man. Right.
Nah, it's closer to like 2 stacks. But I was gonna hide, 200 away only till it was 1,800.
Wow.
Damn.
Listen, time out, man. That's only because we're not gonna edit that. Well, yeah, we're gonna edit this out. But the only reason I was gonna do it is because my baby shower coming up soon, so I was gonna slide some money to the side, low key for that, so I can go buy her something that she wanted. But I don't know, if anyone's gonna buy it for her because it's kind of expensive. And I don't want her.
Trap not gonna edit this out, man. He's not gonna edit.
Nah, bro, you better edit all that shit out.
He will not. He will not edit anything out.
Yeah, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna.
His editing is just upload. That's his editing.
He just uploads and then adds sound effects.
Exactly.
Oh, I noticed that.
The funny thing is, we've been getting
very oddly placed sound effects. Like somebody's having a conversation and he has like Call of Duty music in the background. Yeah. Like what? What is that?
My buddy Greg at work's like, yo, Trap loves that explosion shit. Yo, what the hell?
Oh, yes.
The DJ Clue, Funk Flex Bomb.
The DJ Clue, Funk Flex Explosion Bomb, yeah.
That's when the shots are fired. That's when somebody says some shit that's off the wall.
You got Lex dying over
Because I'm thinking of those explosions, man. That's the first thing I notice. Every episode is at least one.
There's at least 6 explosions.
At least 6.
Yeah, in the first 3 episodes, there was at least 6 of them.
Oh, yeah, the first episodes was nuts. First 2-3 episodes was nuts.
Oh, yeah.
But with the editing, I mean, we've been doing real good. There ain't much to really cut out.
Well, we're gonna have to cut out that whole segment of what I just said. I don't know where you want to pick back up, but with the PS and BS, that part of the BS is out of that, because you ain't mentioning the baby shower.
God. So he talking about he don't got no BS, and then he want to cut out the good part of the BS.
That's what I'm saying. Like, like I was texting these guys, like, where's the BS? What's going on here?
Yo, you got homework. Yo, you got homework, man.
AJ, your job every week is to come up with the BS, man.
Hell no, bro. You know what my job is every week, bro? I work 70+ hours a week.
Well, now you work at 72.
72.
Now you work at 72.
Now you act like you ain't got a social life. Hey, quick. You know what?
Bro, what social life I got? What social life I got?
We can talk about a quick BS.
I spend more time with the niggas at work than I do with my own wife, bro. What social life I got?
Here's a quick BS that we can just wrap this up with. What's up with this Fortnite, man? How does Fortnite just destroy every console?
How are we just gonna blame the most retarded game in the whole world on destroying a system.
How do
Here we go.
blame
The
him? 'Cause it
explosion. Cue
happened.
the explosion.
Yeah, explosion.
Boom.
Fortnite destroyed the gaming industry.
For a whole hour.
Trav.
For
Yeah,
a
it
whole
did.
hour. Almost canceled
A
the
free to
pod
play
today.
game. A free to play game.
I don't know, man. It
Interrupted the
only
whole
ruined
world.
y'all system, bro, because as soon as I
Listen.
turned my PlayStation on, I was logged in. As soon as I turned on Red Dead, I was online. As soon
right.
as I started the first party chat, we started PS and
But
BS.
that's
bro.
because you
man.
showed up. That's because you showed
started
up late
late.
to the podcast as
Fashionably
usual,
late.
man. That's why.
Hey.
That's why. What happened.
I apologize, bruh. You know, money before games, bruh. That's how
Respect-
I was raised.
respect it.
Grown man
Respect that,
status,
respect that.
bruh.
Respect that. You got
Listen,
mouthpiece,
in
man.
All right.
the time that y'all were eating breakfast, I was making triple digits. All right.
All right.
What happened, Lex?
So what you got, Lex?
No, I just wanted to get into these game releases, man. We got some
All
games
right,
coming
let's-
out next year,
All
next
right,
week.
go. Oh shit, next year. All right,
Next year,
Next year, I was like, wow. All right, take it easy.
next
Hold on.
week.
I gotta leave.
All
Gotta
right,
finish
Bob.
that up. I'm
All right,
already
Bob.
20
All right.
minutes past my time. I'll let
Jeez,
y'all
look,
later.
he got to go catch a flight. Flex,
All right,
look,
so
leaving
Flex,
the
like,
podcast
man.
early.
I mean,
Flex.
it is what it is, man. I might be going to Tokyo for all y'all know.
Look at
There
this.
you
go.
He
Oh
already
my
booked it while he
God.
was quiet. He was
Live
quiet
from
for a little bit.
Tokyo.
Expedia. He booked it. Expedia.
All right, yo, I'll holler at y'all
shit.
later.
All right.
Speed
Later.
some hair grease.
I don't know what he said. I don't know that last part he said. But all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
That's old
Lex.
school. Yeah, we got Children of Morta coming out.
What the fuck was that?
Why do you
There
have
we
to
go again.
vocally do
See-
that sound effect, but you add every other sound effect via
For
computer?
real, bro.
Why
Like,
can't you
that's-
just
It's a
add
thing,
that
it's a
sound
thing.
effect?
It's a
Wow.
thing now. Lex, go ahead, man.
It's a
It's a
thing.
thing.
Go ahead, Lex.
All right, we got Children of Morta coming out on the 15th. That's like a little indie game, little top. It's like a story-based type of indie game. It's very cartoony, kind of 8-bit, like that pixel art type game. I don't know. It looks okay. I mean, nothing out of this world. I'm not really into those type of games, but it's coming out the 15th. Then we have Felix the Reaper. This was, I think they showed a trailer. I don't know if it was on the Xbox thing, but it's also coming out for PlayStation 4. It's a kind of like a puzzle-based dancing game. You play as this Grim Reaper that has to kind of find his way. I don't even know, man. It's the description is like it's a tragic comedic love story that plays out in the bureaucratic cubicles of the underworld. That's the description.
Wow.
I have no idea. Not
Bro,
something I'm
the
interested
part
in
that it takes
either.
place in the underworld, though, already caught
Yeah.
my attention, bro.
Yeah,
I
no,
swear
check
to
it out.
God, bro.
Check it out. It comes out on the 17th. Then we got Travis's game, Travis Strikes Again.
Hey,
No More Heroes Complete Edition. Yes,
Yes.
we got the Complete Edition coming out for PlayStation 4 on the 17th. And we all know what that's about. That game is interesting. That's all I can say. I'm trying to be nice. And then we got the good old Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville, October the 18th.
I actually played the alpha for that. I had to
Its
sign
official
an
release is the 18th.
Yeah, I had to sign a little NDA or whatever, but I don't care. They can find me.
You said you
Did you
signed
like
your
it?
life away. What?
Did you like it?
It was, if you played any of the other ones, it was pretty much on the same token as that, just a little more, I guess, open with more game modes. So I did like it. I did. If you guys were into those kind of games, I would definitely pick it up.
Yeah, a lot multiplayer type games. Not
Yeah.
not in my wheelhouse, but it's fun. It looks fun.
Yeah,
Then
it's
finally on October 18th as well, Friday, we have Return of the Obra Dinn. That is a Japanese-based studio game from the same people that did Papers, Please. Just look it up. It's a puzzle video game. It's kind of like
Okay.
one of those type of games. The graphics are like black and white. It's kind of like hand drawn, like with a pencil
Like
type
Cuphead?
stuff. It looks pretty. No, it's not as colorful. It's basically just black and white. There's a lot of shading. It looks pretty interesting. Again, it comes out the 18th. If you're into those type of puzzle games, if you know
Okay.
about Papers, Please, maybe pick it up. And that's pretty much it for next week.
Dope stuff. Oh god. Jeez. Hey, listen, man. It's time to go home, man. With all that,
Yeah,
with all
man.
that you doing, bro. It's time to go home. Wrap this up, Trav.
Shit, man. Hey, yes, this was another episode, man. We here, man. Episode 7, man. Time to go home, man. Time to wrap it up, man. That was PS and BS, man. We out of here. Yeah.